the official start of the 24-25 season. Can we get the first spark of the season?
Oh. Roof.
All right, we are here. We're live, unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube and Facebook. I'm Preston Poole. That is Tyler Adams, Teabag. We're here to recap Thunder Media Day yesterday, where we were at. That little clip you just saw was part of one of the interviews that we did yesterday. All those are on our X account for the podcast at Unadvised Pod. Follow us as well at Preston Poole 405 at Tyler's Takes. And then the video is also on the Sports Animal YouTube with all of them combined. It's about 17, 18 minutes. So go check that out after you get done here with us. But yeah, we're going to talk about basically things we saw, we heard, all that stuff at Thunder Media yesterday. We were there. I think we talked to, I know I missed out on Hartenstein, Shea, Chet, and I think Case and Wallace, but you got those. So I think we covered just about almost every Thunder player outside of maybe like 2 or 3. So
yeah,
we're going to talk about that. Like I said, I'll drop a link to that as well here in the comments in just a little bit, but it is in the description for this live stream on YouTube. The link to that video is, so go check that out when we are done here. But yeah, Teabag, Thunder Media Day yesterday. Look, we were going to try and get maybe a couple of players right, but shout out to Josh Lee.
Shout out to you. You're the one that shout out Josh Lee for letting us in. Shout out to you for having the idea of being like, hey, we should go back here.
Well, I walked into his little room because he showed me where they were at.
It was a cool room.
There's a couch. No one's using it. And then we kind of just set up there.
Sounds dirty.
And then, yeah, shout out Josh Lee for letting us hang out there and not kicking us out like he could have. So we were able to get a whole bunch of interviews. They're short and sweet, so it won't take long to watch all of them. We just asked them a question apiece, maybe 3 total questions. Yeah, that happened. What were your thoughts on Media Day as a whole?
We talked about the morning animals this morning, and Preston, I know me and you experienced it, and then I know Curtis and Spinozzi experienced it too during their time in Media Days. And then I guess I didn't hear, but they were talking about this morning, Curtis and Spinozzi were, about what Brian Windhorst had to say. And that's a lot that this Thunder team is full of guys with charisma, and they carry themselves the right way too. They're very, for example, like when Shea walked into the room, he walked in and, shook our hands, was like, Shea, and it's like, I know who you are, dude, like, yeah. Tyler. But, a lot of the players would do that, coming in and shaking our hands. And,
I think almost all of them came in and shaked our hand, yeah.
Very personable and stuff. And I think that kind of speaks a long way, because Brian Windhorst came on and said, you don't see these type of players. There's a lot of players like that in the NBA, but you don't see a team that has, a whole roster full of players with manners and stuff like that. It goes a long way. And I think it's just one of those things where Presti, obviously drafting first and foremost off basketball ability and how they'll fit on the Thunder. But I think he's also drafting a lot too, just based off, personality and
character and all that stuff.
Character, yeah. The way the guys carry themselves, because that was the thing that really struck out to me the most, was just how just cool these guys were to us. Like, they walked in, they wanted to talk to us. It was just, I didn't expect them to be that open and, just what's up to us.
Well, yeah, and obviously, we deal with the Thunder a lot working at the Sports Animals. We know kind of how they can be sometimes. It's not all the time.
They're NBA players.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
right.
They're
but that is just kind of a little chance to see like an inside of, what these guys are like when the lights aren't on, right? A little, behind the scenes look at the guys. And we had some funny interactions that we'll bring up here in just a little bit. But my thoughts on Media Day is kind of similar to yours. Is just these guys are very professional. I think a lot of them, they get it. Even the rookies. We talked to, and we'll probably bring it up a little bit more, but AJ Mitchell, a rookie, a two-way guy who came in, and we probably talked to him the longest out of anyone, who just, easy to have a conversation with. So Pretty cool to do that with those guys. But yeah, I think they all personality wise are kind of similar in a way where I won't say they all act the same, because we're all humans, we all act you're just a little bit different, but I think character wise they're all in the same like general area. All the Thunder players are, so I thought that was pretty cool to see and get an inside look at that, and meet some of those guys. By the way, my biggest takeaway, Isaiah Hartenstein, I didn't think he was that tall. That dude's a monster. He walked into the room when I was heading out to walk down the hallway to grab something. And I was like, God, I did not think that you were that. Like, I knew you were like a 7-footer, but when he walks up on you, I mean, the dude is just massive. And I think he's a great pickup for the Thunder.
I've been around with most of the Thunder players, going to practice and stuff, and going to some of the their media availabilities. I mean, all of them are just big in their own right. I mean, small guys don't play in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph Curry's a small guy in the NBA. He's 6'3", so it's not like he's just some short guy out there on the court.
And I mean, Isaiah
Hartenstein
rolling around, yeah.
Hartenstein, when he walked in, I was just like, God, oh my gosh, that guy is mad. Just everything about like his arms, his height, it was just like, that is a big human.
Yes, very massive. I think he's like 7'2" or some, I don't know, somewhere around there. But he's massive, and he's built. So I think that was a big pickup for them. Let's start off with Mark Daigneault, the head coach for the Thunder. Comes in, commands the room, which you love to see from a head coach. He walks in, he's immediately the head guy in the room, but also is just a nice guy, right? He's just a normal, a nice guy who again, just like everyone else in the organization, they get it, right? They understand what the mission is, and they don't stray too far from that. But the funny thing is, I wouldn't say he bodied you, but he almost did.
He sniffs me out, is what he did. Yeah, I'm a Bruce Springsteen fan, but there's Bruce Springsteen fans and then Bruce Springsteen fans.
Yeah.
And when he asked the deep cuts, that's when I was like, oh, like I know like I saw like 6 or 7 songs that I really like, and that's about it. Like, he's the boss, he won the deep cuts, and I was like, yeah. Like he said no, Born to Run. I was like, that's my favorite song. Like, that's my favorite song ever, is Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. And we joked about the morning as this morning, like, yeah, he sniffed you out from a mile away on that one once he brought up the deep cuts. And but he was really funny and cool about it.
Yeah, after we quit recording that little interview, he stood up and talked, I don't know, for another minute or two, just talking about Bruce Springsteen and giving you some songs, basically giving you songs that aren't released. So you did, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But gave you like some songs that aren't like released. You probably had to find it on like YouTube or something. I would assume so. He kind of bodied you there and then gave you a little lesson after. I think I put Mark Daigneault took T-Bag to school. You learned about him.
I didn't hear from no about me not joining the team next year if I do my homework. So
that's true.
That's still on the table. This year, I don't think I'm gonna be on the team, but next year, I think I have a puncher's chance.
Yeah, we'll have to get you to a Springsteen concert as well, so you can hear all that in person. The next thing I have here, whatever happens in this 24-25 season, T-Bag, just know that the guys on the Unadvised podcast on the Sports Animal were the guys that got the first bark from J-Dub this season.
They won the championship. That's starting the DVD.
Yeah,
like I'm contacting all my resources at the Thunder, and I'm saying this is going to the DVD.
It was great. We're sitting there. I kind of asked him a stupid question, and I kind of felt that way after I asked it. I was like, I don't know why I asked that question.
I felt stupid a couple times yesterday. I haven't rewatched some of the interviews because I know that didn't really go as great as I wanted it to.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, you know what, we got to get you to stop going to OU games because they lose every time you go. So he was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'll do whatever it takes to win. And I was like, all right, well that'll work. So if I had one thing, I would take that question back and ask him a completely different question. But he was super cool. I mean, he's one of those guys that just lights up the room whenever he walks into the room. Has his entourage with him, shooting his videos for his YouTube channel. Just comes in, lights the room up, and there's a couple other guys that we'll talk about as well. But there's
a really funny story I'm sure we're going to get into here soon.
Yes, we definitely will be getting into that here here next. But yeah, I think J-Dub, look, year 3 for him. I got to expect big things from him. I mean, I wouldn't say he took like just an absolute massive leap in year 2, but I think year 3 is probably the year where everything starts to really, really slow down for guys. So I would expect him to take even another jump this season.
He also looks like he's got a lot more thick too. Like he's been spending a lot of time in the gym. I mean, he obviously. I remember last year at media days, everyone was that was kind of going around even like the NBA Twitter circle, where people were posting rookie Jalen Williams what he looks like at media day, and I think a lot of it had to do with the hair. Last year he had the hair back in braids. This year yesterday
it was just everywhere.
Which I don't know why we didn't ask him about that too, but he did address the press conference like, no, I'm gonna be getting it braided or whatever. I don't know what the exact answer was, but it's not going to be big and poofy like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely looked like he put a lot of muscle. But I'm with you. I think J-Dub's going to take a massive step this year. I think he's going to be. I mean, should we say this is a year? The Thunder may have 3 All-Stars with Chet and J-Dub.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise
one of the 2, I think, will make it.
Yeah.
One of the 2.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if they had all 3. To be quite honest with you. Derek on Facebook says Chet gained any muscle. Chet was taking too long. I had to leave to get over to my other job. So, I mean, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, he did, but he's still skinny. I mean, it's not like he's, he's just,
And I don't think he's ever going to be just a massive muscular guy. That's not his build.
But he's definitely put on some more muscle. Granted, that's the first time I've ever been that close to Chet. So just naturally, when you're with a guy that's 7'1", 7'2", he just looks big in general. But yes, he did look like he put on some more muscle.
Yeah, Derek also says J-Dub for most improved player. I thought he would have won it last year. I don't know if a guy going into year 3 can win most improved player. I mean, I guess technically he could if he just goes out and lights it up, right?
Yeah, if he's like a second team All NBA guy or something.
Yeah, I think he probably could there, but I don't know about most improved. I think All-Star is definitely coming off the bench in the All-Star game would be fantastic for him this season, because I do think Chet and Shea are obviously going to be. I mean, Shea will be a starter, and I think Chet will come off the bench for the Western Conference. All right, now let's get into that story with Kenrich Williams, Mr. Hustle himself. So he's sitting there and he's recording some liners for us to play on the air up at the Sports Animal during Thunder games and during commercial breaks, during regular hours. And one of the questions is, what's your favorite karaoke song? He immediately looks like right at us, and he was like, what's that one country song that everyone sings? And we're sitting there and we list off, I don't know,
like
5.
Prince in Love Places, Never Call Me By My Name, Red Solo Cup. Just a lot of
we so many country songs. He's like, no, none of those are it. And so he's sitting there just thinking. He gets done reading the other liners, and I just blurted out, "Is it Sweet Caroline?" And he's like, "Yes, that's a song." I'm like, "Dude, Sweet Caroline is not a country song." First of all,
the funniest part is he looked back. He goes, "Y'all should know." Like he looked at us like, "You guys look like guys that like karaoke." And it's like not half wrong, but it was definitely the funniest moment of the day. And Preston, I think you're out of the room for this, but Josh Lee was showing us the files of all the guys, with their recordings. And because they came in the room and they did sound bits for the Sports Animal, and then after they were done with that, then me and Preston talked to him. So they were talking to the mic to Josh Lee, and all the guys was like between 5 to 7 millibytes, and then you look at Kenrich Williams, it's like 11.3 because he spent 2.5 minutes just trying to figure out Sweet Carolina.
I mean, literally, it took him probably about that long to figure out what it was, and then we finally blurted it out, and he was like, "Yeah, that's it." And he's one of those guys where, first of all, he's awesome. The interaction we had with him, he was just awesome, nice guy, super friendly. But you can tell he's just a great locker room guy. Just from the vibes that you got from, you can just tell he's a great locker room guy.
Yeah, Kenny Hustle.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I introduced him, Mr. Hustle himself. How about another guy who's just a great locker room guy? Jay Will. His smile is infectious. He walks in the room. He's another guy that just lights up the room. You see him, he's smiling. It makes you want to smile. And you just can't help but smile around him.
That was my question to him. I was like, if there's a first team all happy, how many selections do you get? He's like, every year of my career. I was like, yeah, dude, you are the happiest guy I've ever seen play on an NBA court. I mean, he takes a charge and he's smiling. He's
Oh
getting,
yeah,
hit to the ground. He's just like smiling afterwards. Yeah, I mean, I think he has that just like that perspective, which is the right perspective to have, and I think most NBA guys do. And I know J-Dub even mentioned it last year. He's just like, what's there to be like mad about when I'm here? Like, this is my job, and I'm playing basketball in the NBA. And you could tell like when he gets there, he doesn't have a bad day at the office.
exactly. I mean, it's just like us going to media today. It's like we could be doing a lot of other jobs out there, and our job yesterday was to sit and talk to NBA players. So his job is to sit around and play basketball. So I mean, what are your expectations for him this year? Obviously, his role is probably going to be a little less than what it has been the last 2 years with the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein. But I still think there's a role for him on this basketball team.
I think in the regular season, his role is still going to be, like a 7 to 10 minute a game type of guy. The thing I'm gonna be interested about is, which we'll know by the time the playoffs roll around, watching a full 82 games and stuff. We'll know, what his role is going to be when the playoffs roll around. But that's really more what I'm interested for is what's he going to look like, in the playoffs whenever the rosters get, obviously they cut players, but they trim them down to they only play 7 or 8 guys.
Well, but you say that the Thunder played the same lineups they played all season long in the playoffs.
Yeah, but last year were they just experimenting in the playoffs, or do you think that's going to be? It could.
Yeah. I still think that's just Mark Daigneault has a way that he does it, and he's going to do that until the wheels fall off.
I just still do think he has a role though, because just he has the stuff that's invaluable, or that's just so valuable in the sense of taking charges, setting screens, just kind of doing the dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score. So I think he's still going to have a solid role on this team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you don't lead the league in charges taken and not find some minutes on the court in the NBA. So I completely agree with you. How about talking to Isaiah Joe? My question to him is, what the hell do we need to do to get you into the 3-point competition? And do you think that he told us that he will be in the 3-point competition this upcoming season?
He's like, I think we're gonna have that figured out this year. But he was like, he wasn't implying like in the fact of like he was like, I'm gonna shoot so good, I'm gonna be in. Like he was implying like maybe they've already talked about like him being in it, and they've already like come to a handshake agreement or something. But that's what it sounded like to me. So Isaiah Joe sounded like he might be in the 3-point competition,
which will be awesome because I think he should have been in it the last couple of years. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. So why not have him there? And he's another guy where obviously got the new contract in the offseason, so he's locked up in Oklahoma City for a couple of years. And this is going to be a big year for him because there were times at the end of the season last year where he just kind of went cold. And couldn't really hit too many threes, but he's also a guy, T-Bag, when he's hot, he is on fire. He makes just about everything that he shoots.
Yeah, I told him this yesterday. It's like he's just one of those sneaky athletic guys too that can defend so well, and he can just do some jaw dropping things. I asked him, I was like, "What's a better feeling, dunking on someone like he did against the Rockets last year? That unreal is like #1 on SportsCenter dunk, or shooting?" And he said, shooting's my job, it's what I'm supposed to do, but it's dunking. And I was like, that's probably the right answer. But I still think like when you shoot a basketball in an NBA game and it's going in, like that's got to be, when you're just automatic for a whole night, that's got to be a great feeling. But then again, the dunking is that only comes around maybe once a season for a guy like Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, for sure. And he's just so down to earth and nice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He was definitely just one of those guys that whenever he was in there, he was very, very personable to us and very just open and, just what's up, how are you boys doing today?
All right. I am right now putting the link to that those interviews in the chat. Hopefully that's clickable. I've never done that before. So if it isn't, let me know.
It's in there.
And we'll see.
Like clickable?
Yeah, I don't know if it's clickable. If it's not,
you can copy and paste.
Yeah, copy and paste. There you go. Let's see what else we're gonna get into here. Who was the player that impressed you the most yesterday at Media Day?
From our perspective, or just in general?
We can do both.
Man, that's a good one. Oh, I think from our perspective, either Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins, that might be a little biased just because I love watching them play and I love what they bring to the team, and they're really fun to talk to.
Yeah.
I think overall, man, I just think it's got to be Shea. I know it's the easy route answer, but I mean, the way he conducts himself, the way he answers questions, the way he has perspective on things it's impressive, man. I mean, I asked him, there's a picture of Shea behind us. I said, like, what would you tell that guy right there? And he's like, be patient and stay the course. When it's like you look at it, it's like that's exactly like I'm sure Shea probably went through some, not dark days per se, because it's not like he knew the deal the whole time. But I mean,
he had to question himself, right?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 years of a rebuild, being on a not good team, is he going to take that next step? And then obviously the 22-23 season happens where they kind of get the 10 seed, like kind of out of nowhere. Maybe not out of nowhere, because I think people are like, okay, this team's kind of starting to build some things, but I think people were still like a lot in the tank mode. And so I think it's just got to be Shea, because I listened to, his press conference, when he's in the press room, and just the way he conducts himself it's really impressive to be as global. I mean, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a global star, like superstar in the sports world. And you just don't get that vibe from him at all. And I'm not even just saying that as a guy that got to talk to him and be in the same room as him yesterday. I'm just talking as a guy. It's like, if you just go watch, like, his press conference or just whenever he does interviews and stuff, the way he conducts himself just all together, it's very impressive.
Yeah, and I thought, because obviously we sit and we listen to every press conference, every media availability that these guys do. And I think that he kind of opened up a little bit more to the media yesterday than what he had previously. Sometimes, those guys keep it kind of close to the vest with the Thunder. And I thought he opened up. I did like to end his press conference. He basically, someone asked him about Alex Caruso's defense, and he kind of said a little bit, but then after that he said, that's all I'm giving you because he's on my team now. And I love that. Keep the secrets in house when it comes to your defensive players. So for me, who impressed me most that we talked to, and I kind of hinted at this earlier, and it's not a guy that really we're going to see too much from because he's on a 2-way contract, but AJ Mitchell, I think that he's a guy that you can just go sit down and just have a conversation with. He's very easy to have a conversation with. He's a nice kid. And I hopefully, he gets it and is able to make something in the NBA, but he'll definitely have a fan in me going forward, because he's just an easy conversation and a guy to talk to. And then overall for me, Alex Caruso, I mean, he came in even when he was with us in that little room doing the liners with Josh, he understood what needed to be done, got it done. Came down, talked to us. We had a great, short little, 2-minute conversation with them. And then listening to his press conference, it's a lot of the same, where he's coming in, he knows his role is kind of, and you hate to say the veteran role because he's like my age and I'm 28. So I hate to say like the veteran role, but he's kind of got the veteran role. He's the only guy on the team that's won an NBA title back with the Lakers in 2024. So he brings that title, championship pedigree to the team, and kind of, he just said, I'm here to A, do my job, and B, answer questions for, anyone on the team that might have questions of, what to do. Plus, the defense with him is just going to be crazy.
Him, Dort, and Kaysen on the perimeter. Oh my gosh! Like,
I think there's going to be games where teams score under 100 points often this season.
Yeah,
the Thunder.
Yeah, especially when the Thunder, because there'll be games where they show up, and it's the natural cycle of the NBA. There's going to be games where they show up and they just don't want to play defense at night, coming off a back-to-back 6-game road trip or something. Like that's just a natural. When they show up and they put their mind to defense, especially in a regular season game, like they should go out one regular season game against really. They should do it against a playoff team. Like they don't need to do it against the Trailblazers or the Raptors or something. They should come out with one day to the playoff games. Like, let's play this game with like playoff intensity. Like play defense like it's like game 7 of the playoffs, and just see how little points this team can score. Because the other team's not going to be trying us, because they're not going to be able to pick up on that. Like that they're going to be like, the games would start, like, why are they going this hard?
Yeah.
But I'm with you, Preston. They're going to hold teams to under 100 points a lot, and I think it's going to be very, very fun to watch. And that's when I asked Casey Wallace. I was like, "Just how excited are you guys to play defense?" And he was like, he could see the sparkle in his eyes. He's like, "Yeah, it's going to be fun."
Yeah, I think the defense in Oklahoma City this year is going to be pretty special for the Thunder. How about your guy Curtis from the Morning Animals asking Chet the very first question to Chet Holmgren yesterday in the press room? Are you going to play all 82 this year? And Chet comes out and says, looking back on it, there were times last year where I played, basically said I probably shouldn't have, but I did. So that tells me that Chet is going to take a more conservative role this year when it comes to playing games. Because I think we can all agree that towards the back end of the season, he just looked worn out.
Yes,
He looked tired. He wasn't shooting the ball as well. So I think for him, he kind of learned from that, and that's really the thing that you got from all these guys yesterday was they learned from what happened last year, and they're going to make the changes to better, themselves this year. So I would look for Chet to, maybe rest every once in a while. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a lot. I think
No, just here and there, yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy. Obviously, if he has an injury that's going to keep him out for a couple weeks, then this is different. But I think he's going to still. It's going to be 72 games plus, for Chet. It's not like he's going to take every back-to-back off or something. But we can sit here and say that load management is bad for the league, and I agree with you because I think guys like Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers are a good example of doing too much.
Yeah, guys like Kawhi who play 30 games a year.
Having a guy like Chet, just take a night, like sometimes these guys just need to take a night off because it can just get wearing on those bodies, especially with a body like Chet where he's a smaller guy playing a high, build wise, not obviously not height wise, smaller guy playing big man's position. I mean, he's getting beat up every game, and people don't talk about this enough, Preston. I think everyone knows, but no one talks about it enough because I think basketball just has this stigma, to where it's a soft sport or something. Basketball is a very, very physical sport. I mean, these guys are the most athletic athletes in the world. It's not a question. These guys are the most athletic guys in the world with their height, with the way they can jump, with the way they can run, with the way with how they're agile they are, with their hand-eye coordination, just everything. And to play an NBA game is not easy on the body. And for when you're a guy like Chet Holmgren and you're playing down low a lot of the time, it can wear on you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think adding Isaiah Hartenstein this year is going to just help that out because, Chet's not going to have to play as much at the center position. Because I think if they're both on the floor at the same time, Chet will be the power forward and Hartenstein would be the center. But and we can kind of just, I know it's further down the list here, but since brought it up, we can go ahead and talk about it. Would you rather see the Thunder roll with the double big lineup, or would you like to see Hartenstein come off the bench?
Dude, that's a good question. I've thought about this a lot, and I don't know.
Because that was something that was asked to Hartenstein and I believe Dagnall yesterday, and Hartenstein obviously gave the political answer of "I'm here just to do."
I'm here to get my $20 million a year.
Exactly. I'm here to do whatever they need me to do. And I truly believe that's his feeling is that he's just here to do whatever is needed to win basketball games. But and obviously Mark Dagnall basically said, we haven't even started training camp yet. We don't know what any of these guys look like. Knowing damn well he knows exactly what these guys look like. I think him coming off the bench is going to benefit the Thunder a lot better than him starting.
I lean that too, just because I don't think in the modern NBA right now, I don't think, especially with the Timberwolves trading away Paul Anthony Towns, and that was one of those teams where like how the Thunder going to rebound against them. Well, didn't really matter because they didn't have to play each other. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to roll out this 2 7-footers in your starting five. So I do lean that way. I do think there'll be. I think we're going to see it both this year. But obviously, by the time I think the playoffs roll around, depending on matchup, I think it'll be Hartenstein coming off the bench.
Yeah, look, if they're playing the Mavericks, they're probably going to roll 2 big guys out there. I would think because the Mavs have some bigs that were able to attack the Thunder last year. Now I would say the same for Minnesota, but obviously they just traded Karl Anthony Towns, so I don't know if that's as big of an issue, but yeah, I could see them in the playoffs, in a certain situation, in a certain series, rolling with the two big guys in the starting lineup. But I also thought it was interesting hearing from Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein about how they watched tape on all these guys once they, got traded and signed to the Thunder. They went and they watched tape on all the guys to kind of see, how they can, help benefit this team. And that's not something you hear a lot from guys that get traded or come in via free agency to teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just kind of goes to show this the kind of guys that Thunder are bringing in is guys that know their role and know what they're being brought in for, and they're going to find whatever the best route for them to play their game to help out the team. And because they know they're not coming in to be superstars or anything, but they do know that they're coming in to be like, hey, we are striving for a championship last year or this year, and we needed a couple pieces, and you two guys are those pieces to hopefully complete this puzzle. And I think they understand that, and they're obviously just going to do everything they can. And so, yeah, that kind of goes to show just I think the kind of guys they're bringing in with Isaiah and Alex.
For sure. No, I completely agree with you. Who was your favorite player that you talked to yesterday?
Wiggins or Joe? Isaiah Joe.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Caruso. He's just
AJ Mitchell rock too.
Yeah, he was awesome. I think Caruso gets it. He's one of those guys that gets it. So for me, he was one of the guys. He shot up my board of favorite Thunder players because he's just nice, understands all the media stuff, and understands like kind of his role on the team, and that's someone that you want in your locker room. So I put this on here. The team saying should be, we're attacking this with a 0-0 mindset, because I think every single player said that yesterday, in one way or another, that they're attacking things with a 0-0 mindset. So that needs to be the saying for this basketball team.
Yeah, and we're going to hear that a lot, I think, throughout this year, is it's a 0-0 mindset, which good mindset to have.
Yeah, for sure. I just thought it was funny how literally almost every person that we talked to or we heard from, in the press room mentioned that saying.
You can when you go to media days, Preston, you can feel the Thunder culture.
Oh yeah,
in the air. Yeah. You can feel the Thunder culture in the air. Just how well run.
Cut it with a knife, teabag. That's how thick it is in there.
Yes, like how nice, pristine everything is. How scheduled and on time everyone is. Just everything. Like I've seen some of these other media days around the country, and I know we're not there, so I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it because it's fun to it's fun to speculate. I feel like a lot of these other ones are just kind of pure chaos. You kind of see the background and it seems really tight, chaotic and stuff.
Yeah,
the Thunder's just like very bang bang bang. They have stations and stuff, but and then just the way they all talk and carry themselves and conduct each other. Yeah, it was a very. The Thunder culture was in the air yesterday.
It's the Thunder way. That's one of my favorite sayings. It's the Thunder way. So, all right. So outside of Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, who do you think will have the most, or who do you think will be the most important player for the Thunder this upcoming season?
I think there's a lot of different routes you could go here. I think there's a chance we're going to be looking back where, say, Isaiah Hartenstein was the reason the Thunder. I'm not going to say win a championship because I don't want to put that just like as the expectation for this team. It's obviously something they can do, and it's something they can for sure do. They're one of the top. They're the top two favorite in the league right now to win a championship. So, but I'm not just going to sit here and say like, oh, that's what they got to do. A lot's got to go your way. But I think there's a chance at the end of the season we're talking about as Isaiah Hartenstein is the reason that Chet Holmgren took a massive leap. And I know it's year 3 for Chet, but year 2 on the court. I just think the way it's going to open up Chet's ability, the rebounding, it was an issue last year, but they were able to work around the issue. But now if you eliminate that issue and they can do everything else, like not turn the ball over and force turnovers, play defense, shoot the ball, and now you can rebound. Now you have a rebounding presence. I think it could be Isaiah Hartenstein by the end of the season. But I also think there's a lot of different ways you could go here.
Yeah, I think Alex Caruso, you could go with him, just bringing the next level on defense for this ball club. But I got to agree with you. It's got to be Isaiah Hartenstein because you look at that Dallas Mavericks series in the second round of the playoffs, T-Bag, and what was the biggest issue that the Thunder had? It was rebounding. They got out-rebounded so bad in that series, right? And I think if they had a Hartenstein in that series last year, I'm not going to say it was a sweep. It would be a sweep, but I think the Thunder probably win in 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, the Thunder.
I think the Thunder were the best team. Yeah.
Despite all of it, the Thunder are still like 3 shots in every game. You know, they lost 4 games in that series. They're like 3 shots away from winning the game in every. You know, even down to like one. I mean, in Game 6, it was your one Shai Gilgeous-Alexander non-foul away from winning the game and forcing Game 7 in Oklahoma City.
Exactly. So that I think it's going to be Hartenstein. Or I could definitely see, excuse me, Alex Caruso being that as well, because I think he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be in the starting lineup. I don't think so, but I think he has the opportunity to be like 6th man of the year type guy off the bench for the Thunder.
Yeah, I can see where that is the case.
Yeah. All right. My next point here, and we talked to this guy. He's a rookie, Dylan Jones. The Thunder drafted. He's one of those guys also that comes in, lights up the room. I told him he's a big, just massive ball of energy. And I'm not saying I have any inside sources. I don't, but you know, when you work the job that we do, you talk to people, you know, here and there.
You know things.
Yeah, inside the organization. I think he's got a chance to be a pretty special player. Just from the things that I've heard. I think that he's also one of those guys that gets it. He's driven. From you know what I've heard. So I'm not saying he's going to have like some type of J-Dub season this year, right? Because he's not going to be a starter. He'll be, you know, what, the 4th or 5th guy that comes off the bench. He might even spend time in the G League. But I think later on down the road in a couple of years, I think he's going to be a guy that is heavily in the rotation.
I'm with you, Preston. And he's a big dude too. Like he's one of those guys that walked in. He's like, wow, that's
and he walked in. He had to read off his position. He was like, "What's my position?" Like looking at us, I'm like, "I don't make the lineup, brother."
yeah, I'm not on the team. Like guard, forward, or whatever.
He's like, "What am I listed as?" And he finally just said forward, and I was like, "Yeah, that works."
he was also really funny. He was like, "I got to read all this," or like, "Yeah." No, I'm with you though, Preston. I think it's just going to be one of those another, you know. Did Presti whiff with Alex, or not Alex Caruso, Josh Giddey? I don't want to say whiff. It wasn't a fit for the team, but it wasn't a whiff.
Yeah.
But he was able to find magic in that draft too with Aaron Wiggins and Jalen Williams. And I think Dylan Jones is going to be another one of those guys where maybe Presti might become like the 2nd round king. And I think because Dylan Jones, he was 2nd rounder, right? Or was he late first?
I think he was late first.
Late first. Okay. Yeah. I was saying, because right whenever I started saying that, I was like, I think AJ Mitchell was a 2nd rounder.
Yeah, AJ Mitchell was a 2nd rounder.
Yeah. So I take that back. But I do think this could be one of those guys we might look back and be like, Presti did it again.
Yeah. Obviously, Jones is the rookie out of Weber State who played good in the summer league. I just think he's a guy that gets it. Expectations for the Thunder this year. I was driving home earlier listening to Al and Jim, and Al brought up the point where
I heard this.
If they don't make the finals, it's kind of a disappointing season. And
they said massive disappointment. I was like, massive's a big word to put in there.
I wouldn't say massive because again, this is year 2 of this iteration of the Thunder, right? Yeah. Last year was year 1. They won 56 games. This is year 2. You learn from your loss in the 2nd round of the playoffs. I'll say if you don't make it to the Western Conference Finals, it's a massive, failure of a season.
I think it's a disappointment for sure.
Disappointment should have been the word I said, not failure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things are going to have to go into that. But if this team's healthy, I don't see what would happen to where they wouldn't make it into the Western Conference Finals. We look at the West, and Preston, I don't see a team that's truly better than the Thunder if the Thunder are full health.
And you look at the Mavs. Is adding Klay Thompson really going to make them that much better? I don't think so. I think
the Thunder lost to the Mavs last year, and rightfully so. They didn't get cheated. They didn't do anything. They lost fair and square to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
If there's a rematch this year against the Dallas Mavericks, the Thunder are gentlemen sweeping them.
Yeah,
they are.
No, I'm on the same wavelength as you there, because look, the Thunder added Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. The Mavericks added an old Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the that puts the Mavericks just completely way out of the Thunder's league. And then you look at Minnesota; they didn't get any better trading Karl Anthony Towns. They get Dante DiVincenzo, who's a great player. I think he's going to help them out massively, but they kind of just went full on into the Anthony Edwards situation. I'm trying to think of the word I wanted to use, but obviously they're making him the star of the franchise now, which I think he already was, before that. But I'm not too. I mean, there were times where they couldn't even play Rudy Gobert in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. They're another team where I think that's the Thunder's number one competitor. Denver didn't get better. They lost. I can't even think of it. KCP.
Yeah.
And they lost someone else too, didn't they?
I'm trying
they brought in Russell Westbrook to try to fill in some gaps, and
which is
Russell,
decent piece, but
years old, and he is what he is at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and then you look at the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers are going to be. Obviously, they lose Paul George, who's in Philadelphia now. Yeah. The Lakers. No, we've already seen the Lakers.
Rockets might take a little bit of a step. They don't scare me.
The Grizzlies with a healthy Ja Morant. We'll see, but I can't sit here and say that Ja Morant's going to play a full season, because he's probably going to do something stupid on social media and get suspended for a couple games. He's done it 3 years in a row now.
We can talk starting fives all we want to. Who has the best? Who has the best? Who's the best? I think the Thunder are the best starting five in the West right now. But look at their bench too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking J. Will being like a ninth guy off the bench, the 10th guy off the bench, and he's a very solid NBA player.
Yeah, I think they have one of the best rosters in the league.
They're going to be able to have fresh legs the whole season if they want to, and throughout the playoffs. So, I think you got to get to the Western Conference Finals this year, all things considered. Now, if Anthony Edwards sprains his high ankle sprain, he's out for 3 months, and the T-Wolves fall to the 4 seed or 5 seed or whatever, and the Thunder get a bad draw in the second round, they're the 1 seed. They get the T-Wolves in the second round. You get to Game 7, fist fight the whole way through, and you lose. It's disappointing. We're not going to be happy, obviously. But I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, it's just a big, failure or whatever." Especially if the, Wolves going to win the West or something. But I mean, that's a rare case that I don't really foresee. I mean, we can't predict the future, but I mean, I'm giving a rare scenario, hypothetical here.
Yeah, no, and I still think the Thunder are better than the Timberwolves.
I do too.
When it comes down to it, so I completely.
I think there's one team better in the entire NBA better than the Thunder, and it's the Boston Celtics. And I think the Thunder are. Maybe not this year, but I think the Thunder are right there and being better than the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and the West is going to be so hard this year. It's going to be incredible to watch all season long. Is this the year that Shea does it and he wins the MVP?
Yeah.
So
he's got his recognition. He did it in the playoffs last year. Because I think that's one thing you got to do a lot to win that MVP is you got to go prove it in the playoffs. And I think Shea had a lot of doubters just because no one watched the Thunder, and you see on Twitter he's a free throw merchant, and they don't realize he's the best, point guard and mid range killer in the league, and everything he can do. I think a lot of people saw it last year and understood what Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is, and so I think this very well could be the year that he gets it done.
Who won it last year? Embiid. Was it Embiid?
No, it was Jokic last year.
Jokic.
Real quick, who's one player we haven't mentioned? We haven't said his name.
Who's that?
Lou Dort.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
And think about it. Think about Lou Dort. Here, I'm gonna go find this real quick, Preston. Bear with me. Lou Dort last year became a guy that has struggled shooting the ball.
He had his. I heard this in the press conference. He had his best season at the rim in his whole entire career, which I think that's also what massively improved the Thunder, because before that, he's blowing open layups, and he was just a whole lot better at the rim. And I think he had his best career year from behind the arc as well. He was shooting the
Yeah.
lights out of the ball.
So with the addition of Chip England, who I think is just obviously with the way the Thunder can shoot the ball, is just been one of the more massive additions to the Thunder.
I mean, the Thunder were the best shooting team in the NBA last year.
Lou Dort went from 33% in the 22-23 season to 39.4% in the 23-24 season. Lou Dort's going to become a legit, become the best legit 3-and-D guy in the NBA this year.
Yeah, a nice two-way player where he can lock down the best player on the other team, and he can go out and he can knock down a three on the other end, which is kind of basically what they have in Alex Caruso as well, and Cason Wallace for that matter. So they've got three guys that can really do, are two-way players and can play on both ends of the floor. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Let's see what else here. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but yeah, listening to the press conference, it's clear that these guys learned from what happened last year in the playoffs, and they've addressed those issues. And like you said, they all kind of talk the same. And I said it's kind of scary the amount of basketball robots Sam Presti has made in his basketball lab, because he's sitting there, mixing up all the formulas and putting everything the right way, and it just comes out, a bunch of just basketball masterpieces that he has now playing for his basketball team.
There, someone was asking me the other day. I don't remember who it was. It was a friend of mine. They're like, "Do you fear Sam Presti leaving the Thunder one day?" And I was like, "Why would he? Maybe in 15 years, if he just wants a new change of scenery or something." It was like, no, I don't go into an offseason saying, "Oh, Presti's going to get hired away from the Lakers this year."
Yeah,
this guy, he's like you just said, he's a basketball wizard. He's in the lab all the time, and he's got more chemicals and supplies and little vases and
he turns around all the
lighters.
If we're talking
any other scientists out there,
if we're talking draft picks as potions and stuff, he's got the cabinet stocked full behind him where he just turns around. And he's like, all right, I can take these two and I can give them to, X team and get this bottle that's a lot bigger and a lot better.
And tradable contracts now too.
Yeah.
This guy, he's not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus I think it would be hard for some other ownership in the NBA to just say, here's the keys, take it, do whatever you want with it. And I think that's what the Thunder ownership has let Sam Presti do, and rightfully so, because he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I completely agree with you. Anything else on the Thunder before I talk about this little gossip thing that I found myself in yesterday?
I think we covered it all. I'm ready to hear this gossip.
So I was walking back from where the Gideon and Matt were set up with the sports animal back to the room that we were in with Josh Lee. I'm walking past the press room, and out walks Royce Young and Brian Windhorst, and they're chatting. I'm walking down the hallway, and and they turn and they start walking the same way that I am. Well, at this point, I already caught up to him where I'm probably 3-4 feet behind him. And I'd slow my pace down because I'm like, oh, that's Brian Windhorst. That's pretty cool. I knew he was going to be here, but I didn't know where he was at. And I'm not going to say what I heard because, that's not my place to talk about and stuff like that. But he was talking about some rumors and stuff. And I was like, man, I really want to keep listening to this conversation, but I've got to turn here to go to the room that I'm supposed to go to. I was like, if I could have just kept following them and just listening to that conversation, I would have loved to.
Yeah. Without going into what they said, let's just say that ESPN Woj retired from ESPN and they decided to get rid of Zach Lowe. So
yeah. So who knows what's going on over there, but that was kind of this is pretty cool. But I probably shouldn't be listening to this, so I should probably turn and go the other way. So that's just my brain of wanting to know the gossip, and that's why I love the NBA, first of all. And, guys like Shams and Woj who tweet out those things, and unfortunately Woj no more, but he's off doing better things, I would imagine, not spending all of his time on his phone. Yeah, it was such a sad day turning off notifications for his account.
I know.
So now we've only got Shams.
And I was so loyal to Woj too. Like, I didn't even like follow Shams or anything. And I was
really,
like, I got to follow him.
I followed both of them.
I was loyal to Woj. I'm a Woj guy through and through.
Yeah, no, Woj definitely is my guy. So, but he's now the GM at St. Bonaventure's. So
he's living a good life.
Oh yeah, that's what he wanted to do. So
yeah,
he's doing his thing. But yeah, that was just a pretty funny situation I found myself in yesterday, and I was like, "Yep, I don't need to be hearing this. I'm out of here. I'm going this way." Even though I definitely wanted to be sitting there hearing that stuff. So
it's when you kind of wish you just like turn into a fly and just buzz around.
Yes, yes, for sure. All right, that's going to do it for us. That was our Thunder Media Day recap. Again, if you want to watch the video with all of our interviews, it's on the Sports Animal YouTube. It's just unadvised is the first word, and then I believe the description is we talked to Mark Daignault and a couple Thunder players. So it's on the Sports Animal YouTube page. Should be one of the first videos you see on there. If you can't find the link, go to our X account at Unadvised Pod, at Sports Animal, at Preston Pool 405, at Tyler's Takes. I think all of them should have the link on there to go watch that. Even on our podcast page on X. I mean, almost all of the interviews we posted them today. So
if you can't find it, that's a you problem.
Yes, we kind of took over the Sports Animal account, just retweeting all of our stuff, but we wanted to get it out there for you guys to see. So that's what we did. So all right, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll preview OSU West Virginia, even if T-Bag doesn't want to. We'll preview NFL Week 5 and some other stuff. So thanks for sticking with us today. If I can get my mouse on the right page, and we will talk to you guys on Thursday.